Thank you for staying with us, dear viewers, and welcome back to The Breakfast Show. President Al-Sisi said on Monday that Egypt aims to join the ranks of the developed states in the production of electric power and renewable energy, as well as electricity linkage projects with neighboring countries. The solar energy is the most important source of energy in the globe. Egypt, geographically lying between latitudes 22 and 31.5 north. So Egypt is at the heart of the global solar belt, and thus it is one of the richest world countries in solar energy. In the village of Binban in Aswan, the largest solar energy station in the world is built, where 90% of the energy produced from the high dam will be generated. This is within the framework of the strategy developed by the New and Renewable Energy Authority, which aims to make 20% of the electricity produced in Egypt of clean energy by the end of this year. And with us now here in the studio is the former director of the Renewable Energy Authority, Engineer Dr. Mohamed Sobki. Dr. Sobki, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Dr. Sobki, so talk to us about the Binban solar energy project in Aswan.
Well, the Binban project is really a turning point. If you allow me, I'll go back a little bit in history. In 1986, the Renewable Energy Authority started, and during which until today it was responsible for research and development in the area of renewable energies and the developing of some demo projects either in solar energy, primarily thermal solar energy, or wind energy.
Yes.
In 2014, actually, so the investment costs for renewable energies, especially the photovoltaic, the PV, the solar panels, as well as wind energy, did become a commercially competitive with conventional power. So in that year, we had two significant events. One of them was the issuance of the Egyptian Constitution, which stated very clearly in Article 32 of that Constitution that the state is committed for the development of renewable energies and the optimal use of it. So
that year 2014.
That 2014.
Where you headed, where you were the head of the Renewable Energy
Yes,
Authority.
yes. And that did give a very strong legislative umbrella to renewable energies in the country, of course. In addition to that, the issuance of Law Number 203 in December 2014. In that law, it stated 5 schemes for the development of renewable energies, and one of these schemes was called the feed-in tariff. And I would say it was the jewel of the crown at that time. That scheme did state that the electrical utilities in the country are committed to buying electricity from renewable energy projects at a fixed price for 25 years. So in that by itself was quite attractive for a large number of developers, as well as investment institutions and financing institutions. As a matter of fact, at the time, 132 investment entities and developers did apply, out of which 32 were successful in securing some projects in the Binban area. In that sense, the number of these successful developers were sort of competing with each other, as well as to produce the largest possible production of electricity from the Binban area. It ended up that we have now more than, well, exactly 1,465 megawatts of capacity of renewable energy capacity in the Biman area, and that capacity is possibly capacity is can extend possibly to 2,000 megawatts. The area allows for that, as well as the duplication of such project.
So can we say that instead of a shortage in electricity that was back in the year 2013 and 2014, we now have excess and we can export? Have we reached that stage?
Yes, we have reached that stage. As a matter of fact, it was the development of conventional power generation station as well as a renewable energy project. The conventional power project did address the energy efficiency, and so we managed to get conventional power plants with double the efficiency of existing technologies or prevailing technologies at the time. So we managed to reduce the average usage of fuel per kilowatt hour, per 1 kilowatt hour. If you allow me, I'll give a couple of numbers easily. The average fuel consumption per 1 kilowatt hour was around the 220 grams, and that's the average of the system. So we had higher and we had lower, but the average was 220. Today, this average is approaching the 180 grams. So there is
20%,
almost 20% reduction. This reduction in fuel actually also reflects on a positive impact on the environment, because in this way, for each 1 kilowatt hour, we are avoiding the production of the carbon oxides and so on by 475 grams of carbon dioxide and in the environment.
Wonderful.
And that actually also reflects the commitment of Egypt as a country in the global to the global arena.
True, in combating climate change.
Climate change, and so especially that we are next year we are hosting the conventional parties, the COP27. So that reflects the commitment of Egypt, as well as, I believe, definitely it will attract more financing institutions to finance more projects of renewable energies in Egypt, primarily in solar as well as in wind.
And I guess it reflects a clear strategy as well.
Definitely it reflects a clear strategy. The current strategy, or we had a strategy in 2015, that strategy indicated about 35% of renewable energies in the mixture of electricity generation. This strategy has been updated in 2017, and it indicated that there is a possibility to reach 42%. This strategy is being updated today, I mean currently, and it indicates a higher percentage of renewable. These renewable energies will be around the 60% in our 60% in our energy.
But where are we now at the moment?
We are today. We are. I'll give two numbers because sometimes we get confused regarding the capacity. We have a little bit more than 6,000 megawatts of renewable energies that include hydro, wind, and solar. This 6,000 megawatts represent around 20% of the peak demand, of our maximum demand. It reflects around 12% of the energy contribution, renewable energy contribution in the electricity energy mix.
And the 60% we want to get to, is it from the 20 number or the 12 number?
It is from the 12 number.
From the 12. That's very ambitious.
It is ambitious, it is challenging, but there is different ways to achieve that.
The potential is there, but it will take time, of course.
Of course, the potential is there. If you allow me, I'll say the potential market. The first potential market isn't within Egypt itself. A lot of the, especially industrial activities, would like to acquire renewable energies in their energy mix.
It will be less costly.
It will be less costly. It will give them a competitive edge for their exports. So if you say I'm producing whatever, any type of goods, and you say a certain percentage of the energy used in that production was renewable energy, so it gives that industry a competitive edge when exporting their product. The second possible market is by exporting electricity in general. And exporting electricity to other countries, especially we have potential of exporting electricity in a number of directions. But I'll say the first direction is exporting electricity to Europe. And Europe is after renewable energies because it helps them, if they use renewable energy, it helps them to satisfy their commitment regarding also the environment, and they do have targets of reaching a lower level of polluting the environment, also retiring some of their coal-fired power plants and so on.
The President highlighted this, Dr. Sobki, during the inspection of this massive project. He highlighted the importance of electricity linkage projects, also with neighboring countries.
Yes.
Adding that the states which are not ready for such grids will miss out on such a key development in the energy field. So you're talking to us again about Europe and not just the cross-border or the neighboring
If you allow me,
countries.
there is a potential of interacting with or connecting to other networks in the neighborhood and beyond that. The first one is Europe, and we have two passages to connect with Europe. One is an existing one, and it needs enhancement and increasing its capacity, which is called the Mediterranean Ring. So it's a network around the Mediterranean. From the east, we are connecting to Jordan, Syria, Lebanon and Iraq, and then eventually Turkey. And that's an entrance to Europe. The second one is to the west, and it's then Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, and then from Tunisia across the Mediterranean to Italy. It has some technical challenges, and then from Tunisia to Algeria and to Morocco, and then to Spain, and that's again,
Europe.
That's Europe. So regarding this, there is.
What about the grid with Saudi Arabia? There is
yes, I'll just say the second interconnection with Europe is which a number of feasibility studies were conducted, technical and financial, which is the connection of Egypt to Cyprus, and then from Cyprus to Crete. Crete is Greece, I mean part of Greece, so that's another entry to Europe, and we are speaking about a huge 3,000 megawatts. The other interconnection, so there is two interconnections to Europe, and the other interconnection is to the east with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and then eventually with the Gulf area.
What about to Africa?
Yes.
There is talk, right?
No, actually, yes, actually, there is currently there is interconnection with Sudan, with a capacity of 300 megawatts. It's not fully utilized yet, but we are working on that, and we are helping Sudan to improve on their networks to be able to acquire energy from east.
Because I understand that this could go to Ethiopia and
yes, it will go to all the Nile Basin countries, so we are eventually connecting all the Nile Basin countries to this grid, and then eventually to South Africa. So there is an ambitious target to say, we're saying South Africa, Johannesburg, Alexandria. So I mean, we are looking to to interconnect all of these countries in different sources. And along this passage, there is different resources of renewable energies. Some of them are hydro, some of them are solar, and as well as wind in Egypt. So there is a mixture of renewable energies along this possible interconnection eventually between South Africa and Egypt.
So you're telling us just like Egypt acted as the heart of the world in trading via the Suez Canal for years and years, Egypt is now trying to ambitiously act as the heart of playing its historical role of linking Africa, Europe, and Asia via those electricity grids and renewable energy projects.
Well, I like the example you mentioned because actually energy is essential. It's future. It is. You cannot have any economical activity without energy. So having Egypt as a hub from an energy point of view definitely is helping the trade, definitely is helping all these countries connected together on two aspects. One of them is the reliability of the networks between these countries, so you are limiting the potential interruptions. That's one thing. And the other thing is also we are trading between these countries the most environmentally safe energy as well as the most competitive regarding their cost energy sources between these countries.
Yes, Dr. Sobki, Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy, Dr. Mohamed Shakir, presented the country's accomplishments in the past several years in establishing multiple state-of-the-art new power plants in Upper Egypt, of course, and nationwide. The electricity minister also discussed the role of the German energy giant Siemens in developing the energy networks. So talk to us about the role of multinational companies and in this case, of course, a giant German company in investing with Egypt for the sake of the benefit of all parties.
I'll take your last word, the benefit of all parties. That actually this interaction with Siemens as one of the giant electric industries around the world is an example of joint benefits between two countries, and that definitely these strong commercial ties overshadow any other ties like political ties. Or,
yes, of course.
So it establishes
big interests.
It joins really joint objectives. And the other thing is, as well as like the three projects which you indicated regarding Siemens, they were a technology breakthrough because their efficiency was more than double actually, the efficiency of prevailing power plants in Egypt. So it was state of the art. We are speaking about efficiencies at 61%. As compared to efficiencies of 30 or 35% between the plants at the time. So that reflected higher efficiency, which means less usage of fuel, and as well as a more positive impact on the environment. And of course, this will allow Egypt also, especially that the activities which were conducted in building these power plants, power generation plants, were a combined effort of Siemens as providing the technology itself, as well as a number of Egyptian entities regarding their capabilities in construction, as well as usage of some of the electrical equipment which is manufactured in Egypt. And it's important to say here that Egypt now produces, the electrical equipment regarding the supply of electricity reached about 70% in our manufacturing capabilities.
70.
70%. So we are manufacturing a lot of the equipment, which is also an
Great.
additional economical activity, which Egypt do export actually some of these products.
And the private sector is playing a role here with
The
with
private
the
sector
government.
is playing a huge role in this, and that shows is that at a certain time in Egypt, I mean historically, the I like to say that always, the state acted in a motherlyhood fashion. So it covered a lot of our needs and so on in this motherlyhood fashion, but that was an era which fulfilled its targets. And then we're moving in a transitional phase now in involving all Egyptians, all the private sector as well as the state working together, and that is reflecting a positive impact on the Egyptian economy. And one example is really the electricity sector. Of course, this joint venture type activities is also does exist in other sectors, but the electricity one is, I would
Very
say,
clear, yeah.
very clear.
Very
Yes.
good example. So can we say that, as you chose the word, the motherly role, can we say that we are in a transitional period where this is going to be a sisterly role? Can we say that?
A sisterly role, yes. A joint effort role with one target, which is the welfare of this country.
Achieving, of course, the Sustainable Development Goals. After all, this
Definitely.
is all within one integrated
well, it's all
scheme.
package, and that shows that actually not only one ministry is responsible for these developments, but these developments which were achieved by the electricity sector was a lot of the other ministries or other sectors in Egypt did share this development and this objective. I will mention Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Petroleum, of course, that was a key brother into these developments, and the Ministry of Defense, and so you can say that all ministries were working in a harmonized way to develop these objectives.
Dr. Sobki, it's been very informative, very rich. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
On behalf of you, dear viewers, we thank very much our dear guest here in the studio, Engineer Dr. Mohamed Sobki, the former director of the Renewable Energy Authority. Very good morning to you, dear sir. Hope to see you again. Dear viewers, please stay with us. My dear colleague Shireen Adil will be here momentarily, and she'll be talking more about the Sustainable Development Goals for Egypt, the President's recent statements on the Decent Life Initiative, and on the integrated scheme to achieve Egypt's 2030 vision and the Sustainable Development Goals. Please stay with us.